of your faculty members and quite a few of you are doing the research and at various stage. Like, some started, maybe some in the process of completing your research and experimentation and waiting for your viva. So, but this presentation, what I'm going to talk is little bit focused. I can say that not little bit more focused only IEEE publication. So all of you know that each publication has its own uh, guidelines. Like so because you come from a different background, right? So I think all the not necessarily engineering background. I think you know both arts and science and humanities, and so it is a group consisting of different discipline, right? So, but I think you may find bit of orientation towards engineering because IEEE traditionally the a technical association which has been in the field of engineering more, focusing on engineering, you know, for over something like 160 years, actually from 1883. So it has been in existence. You know, it started as a American Institute of Engineers, and then there was American Radio Engineering Society ARSS, and both of them, you know, they got merged and then it became IEEE in 1963. So from then, you know, it works under the common umbrella. So you may be wondering why people should publish in IEEE. You know, this I just given few points. You know, like publishing with IEEE and get noticed. So the sense that get noticed is IEEE is the world's largest technical association. So which means that people for any technical related information, the first point of reference is IEEE. Like nature and science cell, you know, people look for scientific, more of natural science and some of the applied sciences. But if you talk about engineering discipline and engineering and allied discipline, so like you know related to engineering, people look IEEE as the main source of information, and it is a trusted source for researchers, academia, industry, and government for 130 years. Sort of you know this the period, you know, it all depends with reference to what people talk about. So here it is only limited to IEEE, and see you can see that one reference has been made. One third of the world's technical literature is being brought out by IEEE. So something like you know when there are 100 papers are published in technical field, 35 papers, you know, they have the source, you know, is IEEE publication. So which means it's a dominant player in the field of engineering and other discipline, and it is top ranked in the technical field, and also it is the most cited publisher in US and European new technology patents. See, if you look at patents, patents are based on certain research innovation findings, and those references, you know, they get appeared in the IEEE journals. So for anyone who is interested in patent, they try to refer the IEEE publication and see whether it has been referenced or some idea about the patent has been already discussed. So patent has to be new, right? So which means that they really authenticate the application for the patent is being authenticated based on the information published in IEEE. So that's why you know it's the most cited for the patent. And IEEE principles is a scholarly publishing, peer-reviewed and unbiased information. In fact, the way IEEE publications are considered to be very valuable is the peer review process. The peer review process is seamless, and it is consisting of both industry as well as academic people. So many journals, what they do is the references are done only to academic circle. But in the case of IEEE, you find the industry people also equally contribute along with academic. So sort of academic uh, principles are verified by the academic personalities, and then how this research can be applied in industry. So that is verified by the industry people. So nowadays, any research what you do, theory to practice has to be given more importance. If you can monetize your research, or you can come out with a product, that research is considered to be more valuable. So it's the product development, and ultimately what people look at is IPR. So intellectual property, that is what people are nowadays look after. So early days that hypothesis was given important. Now if you can productize any research, then this research is considered to be very valuable. In fact, that is one of the purpose. The CSR laboratories, they have founded the Academy of Scientific Research, ACSR, right? So CSR has got 40 plus laboratories, and many of the scientists who join there, they do a lot of cutting edge research, but unfortunately, they don't get a PhD. Like they do the work purely on the research focused areas, but ultimately, their research is being used in industry and even scientific developments and things, but they are not recognized in terms of getting research. And same thing happens in the case of industries. The industries is slightly different in the sense that uh, industry has to sort of survive first, then it has to grow to be on the to be more profitable and things like that. And which means that every problem industry faces is as good as a research problem. But only thing is that the industry research problems never get published because of the nature of the research, confidentiality, and the company orientation. So they may not like that to be published, and then some competitor will be making money out of it. So that's why it's an industry people. But after the advent of internet and communication development, big data, now AI, you find the industry employing more and more of research scholars as well as doing a lot of research work. And the amount of research publishing from companies like Google is mind boggling. So I'm sure that you must have seen that. You may be wondering, it is Google is not a academic institution, but the people work in the Google, they publish so many research articles. In fact, uh, everyone is familiar with large language models, right? The chat gpt and things like that. The foundation for the chat gpt, that is the transformer that was published by the Google company. So if you look at the research findings, which has been earlier the domain of academic people, now it is slowly shifting towards the industry. So it is more and more commercialization. The research work ultimately, is the importance or value of the research work depends on the commercial value it can bring in. Another example I can quote here why research and patents becomes very important. And there is about 10 years back, uh, Google purchased the company Motorola. So quite a few of you know about Motorola, right? Motorola is one of the very old company. They were the business of developing. I mean, basically they were in the radio communication, and then they also manufacturing chips, Motorola chips and things like that. Then they went to mobile phone and various areas diversified. And in fact, the first mobile phone was from Motorola. And but due to American government rules and things like that, there are some restrictions were posted, and Motorola, they were finding difficult with growing competition. So ultimately, Motorola came for sale, and that time, can you imagine the company which purchased the Motorola was Google. So Google is a pure play search company, right? Then suddenly, they acquired Motorola, and the value of acquisition was $12 billion. That is $12 billion is something close to about 96,000 rupees in, if you convert 96,000 crores. That is if you convert in today's value. But everyone was wondering, why Motorola should buy. I mean, Google should buy Motorola. It's a sick company. The product lines are not very good. They are not competitive. They were already sinking. But the entire the industry, that IT focused industry was wondering why should they buy. But Google didn't give any reasons. They said we are acquiring Motorola for 12 billion. And exactly after 2 years, what they did, they sold part of Motorola to Lenovo. So Lenovo, another company you must be knowing, the laptops and the mobile phones. Actually, now Motorola mobile phones are being manufactured by Lenovo. This is a Chinese company, which has been in the process of acquiring a lot of companies, including the IBM PC and things like that. So they were Chinese company. They keep buying old companies, and they make profit. So the Google sold the major part of the Motorola to Lenovo. The sale was at $2 billion. So you just see the arithmetic here. They purchased the Motorola for 12 billion, but they sold the majority of Motorola business to Lenovo for 2 billion. So it means 10 billion was the paper loss, in the sense that the accounting book loss. So people are really wondering something wrong with Google, or they just have so much of money, and why should they buy a company for 12 billion and sell it for 2 billion? But there was a catch. What did Google do was they retained the rights of 18,000 patents of Motorola. So those rights were kept with Google, and remaining everything was sold to Lenovo for 2 billion. So the catch was retaining the rights for the patents. And these patents every year is generating a royalty revenue of 2.5 billion. So you can imagine, it is for about 10 years, they have already made 25 billion profit just by the patents of Motorola. So the value of, and you must be reading so many patent fights, between Apple and, see, Apple is a dominant player in the iPhone and other market, touch-based thing. And these people are always in controversy. So any technology, and same thing with the Java. Like after the Sun, they the Oracle purchased. So the Java is being used in so many places, and who has got the ownership? So the Java is a very dominant language. So this continues that IPR related sort of what do you call that fightings, is a perennial, and then many times they settle out of court settlement involving huge money. So this is the entire. So the people, that's the reason they always look at more than anything else. If your research idea can be patented, and which has got a value for product development, that is the most important. So that is one of the main thing, when the research problem identification. So that is the first step in any research, identifying your problem of work. And that's the reasons experience faculty members, so they get involved, and then they at least they visualize this type of research will have a long term value. And then you find many of the academic people, they start working with industry, that academic and industry interaction, which has been sort of a well debated topic. It is more like the academy and the industry, they used to run as a parallel track, like a railway track. It may look as if it is converging, but it will never converge. So that has been the past, but now you find many of the things are changing. But both academia as well as the industry, they are working, and many common problems are being solved by the combination of the people from both academy. That is the reason why Stanford Research Park, has become very popular in those days. The entire Silicon Valley is based on the Stanford research. So the people came from the industry. I mean, the Stanford research people, they were so supportive for the industry, for the electronics, the Silicon Valley. And on the same lines, uh, IIT Madras, has set up the IIT Madras Research Park. It is the country's first research park set up by the institution. And I'm sure that some of you must be knowing about the IIT Madras Research Park. So already they have 300 plus startups, and then their market capitalization from those startups is already touching 5,000 crores. Some of the very well known, including the latest 3D printed Agni-Cool, the rocket launching is being done by IIT Madras, and Aether is a electric vehicle, and I can name quite a few work which has been done. And there is an incubation center, come research park, where the industry people can get the support of IIT faculty and also researchers. The idea is that the industry has an idea and business plan, but the execution depends on the research, and for which they require academic support and also people to work in the projects. So IIT provides the faculty support as well as the researchers who are working in the problems, they can be assigned to the research. So it is a win-win situation for all the people. So the reason why I was elaborating all this thing is the patenting. So the creating IPR is the most important thing in the case of any research. Then IEEE is author-friendly publishing and is generous with copyright policies, permits self-archive. So many publishers, when you go for publishing in the journals like Springer and Blackwell, Francis, Tyler, and so on, what they do is they take the copyright. You sign the copyright document, and at the maximum they give you 25 copies of your even preprints. They have restriction, but of late they have made it more generous in the sense that institution can do the thing, institutional archives. So here you have an institutional archive, sir, in a setup. Okay. See, many institutions like uh, okay, the background for that institutional archive is that the concept of open archives and open access. So some of you are aware about open access, right? So the open access is that research journals out of subscription model. So whatever research papers you publish, they are available freely for consumption. So you don't have to subscribe to the journals which publishes. That's why that open access journal. And this open access journal is a movement as it were on its own. The idea is that the knowledge should be shared, available to all the people who are wanting to do research and things like that. But the publishers, the established publishers, they had their own interior objectives like profit, making profit. And there are cases like Springer and Nature. The profit margin is something like 35%. So they make profit of 35%, whereas the industry norm is less than 10%. And it's all through the subscription model. So the research work is given free, but they sell indirectly. They're selling the research work to the end users through the subscription, things like that. So that's the reason here IEEE is generous with the authors, so they allow you to self-archive first thing, and then they also permit you to keep it in the institutional archive. The institutional archive is nothing but all the research work done by the institution, the people from a particular university or any institution. It can be sort of stored in the local server, not only available for the local researchers, but they can also have access to external people. So this is a very very important milestone in making the research. But earlier, all of us know that your research research publication, that is a thesis, that is stored, that we must be, because that is by nature, it is a property of the university, so that you have the rights to save it. But the the publishing, the papers what they have been published is was out of the copyright. So now they have make it sort of, now it is even some of the paid journal publishers, the author insists that it should be institutional repository. They are giving permission on a selective basis. So the larger institution, they make it a mandatory condition that our authors will publish in a journal, provided you give the rights for the institutional repository. So, but in the case of IEEE, it is from the beginning they have been very liberal instead of allowing self-archive from the institution. And then IEEE has also started open access journals. So earlier, all the IEEE journals used to be paid journals. Membership, the rates are different from the public rate. And now open access journals have been started by IEEE. There are two reasons for starting the open access journals. One is many of the research grant providers, they insist that the research work should be made available to the public. Earlier, it used to be some sort of a moratorium, like 2 years you can make it private confidential, and after 2 years it can be made public. But now it has become one of the mandatory requirement for the research agencies. Unfortunately, still DST and CSAR, they have not made that as a condition. Whereas most of the research grant providers in abroad, they made it a very, very essential condition at the time of research grant approval that it should be made open access. So, but so to see that, that research findings not missed out in the IEEE. So IEEE has started the open access journal. And transparent publication services, operation manual and things. So the entire process is very transparent. In the sense, everything is online. So you have the option of tracking the your status. Many times what happens is we send the paper and we are clueless what stage it is there. But of course, now with the online process is there, but many of the thing, you are able to track it. But earlier I'm talking about, so we don't know where it has gone, and then what stage the reviewer has given the comments and things like that, and how to resubmit the paper. And sometimes, it used to be the publishing cycle used to be running into months, several months, 6 to 8 months to get one paper published. And of course, now the entire research itself is compressed. Many times, in the olden days, people used to take 5 to 6 years. Now it has come down to say about 3 to 5, and some places 4 years and things like that. In fact, when my son did his PhD in Cambridge, it was less than 3 years. 2.5 years, he was asked to sort of go sit for the viva. So I mean, by the time he had also published quite a few papers, including Nature and Science. But the thing is, the research work is getting compressed after the advent of internet. First thing is the internet made the literature survey very, very fast. So earlier literature survey itself used to take almost a year, many times, to finding out what has been happening. And second thing is, you identify a problem, and by the time you formulate your complete methodology for the research, suddenly you will find one paper already getting published on your area. So entire work what you have done for more than a year was null. Yes. So now that type of uncertainties have been eliminated because of the development in the internet and other literature survey methodologies and so on. And again, the reason why we have to publish. So 22 of the top 25 journals in electrical and electronics engineering. And madam, you don't have to take any notes. So this presentation is available. I'll be sharing it. So you can. And also it has got quite a few links. Basically, I made it the link oriented presentation so that At your free time, you can visit the related sites and then get to know more. And 14 out of 15 journals in telecommunication, and 4 out of 5 in artificial intelligence. If you see that the IEEE stands out in terms of being the top journal publisher, in many of the areas. And same thing as I was mentioning the earlier stage, that patent research. Again, you see so the IEEE is cited over 3 times more than any other publisher. So which means that the patents are searched mainly by industry, because it is a commercial research patent, and industry is so, which means that any work you get published in IEEE, it has got the endorsement from the industry. So in the industry looks for the papers which have been published in IEEE. That's the reason many of us look at IEEE as the main source of publishing. And continuing the benefits, optimize visibility. See, IEEE Explorer is the digital library of IEEE. I think some of you are aware of this IEEE Explorer. Yeah, it's I think most of the engineering faculty, right? So these are okay. So and so it has got 6 million items, and downloads are 15 million downloads every month. And partnership with abstracting and indexing providers such as Elsevier, Clarivate, Procus, IET, and NLM, and of course it's also indexed by Scopus and other. So the IEEE Digital Library is the main repository of IEEE publications. And then reputation, 130 years. This 425 is now it is a 465. And then people from all over the world, 160 countries. And trusted content, the journal citation report maintains ranks at the top of the field, and a journal impact factor, eigenfactor score, article influence score. So these are the areas where IEEE publications, they stand out. So more information we can see from the one. And opportunities for publishing. Why IEEE we should consider? So IEEE has got 200 plus journals. This is a one single source. They publish 200 plus journals and 1,800 conferences. In a year, organizes an IEEE organizes 1,800. So which means the opportunity for you to publish is so large. It is not restricted to only for few journals. And second thing is IEEE being a multidisciplinary. So your research work can be published from any one of these sources. So it is not restricting. That's what I'm trying to say there. And then IEEE also has got 1,600 plus books. So nowadays, along with the research papers, another way people they look at the publishing their work is book chapters, right? Many of you become one is you can become editor of the book. And if you are a senior academician, you become editor, and then you call for the book chapters. And budding researchers, they contribute the book chapters. So this is one way of, see, the book chapters has got some additional value when compared to conference papers. Book chapters has got a long life. So because it is being referred, and then academic orientation is there for the book chapter. But only thing is, the book chapters require more like a in-depth knowledge, and it is something closer to review articles in journals. The journals has got a special section called review articles, right? So wherein the senior academic or industry people, they are invited by the journal to write review articles. Normally, the freshers, they are not given that opportunity. So the review articles, they expect the person who writes, has got a global knowledge, and not only the past knowledge, current trend, and future is what likely how it is changed. So the review articles is so these book chapters It's sort of, is comparable to that of review articles in the case of journal papers. And then now, open access is a hybrid, topical, multidisciplinary, things like that. I just maybe. So this is the entry page for the IEEE Explore. So here, it is. You can see the list, in different orders. So this is an alphabetical order. So actually, if you see that, we are getting. Recently, one paper, sir, was published in IEEE Confrences on aerospace airplanes. Okay. I find only by paper Q. One of our faculty members from EC department. Okay. Yes, from this PhD scholar is published. Okay. Maybe we can use the paper to get it. So this list is, it gives a complete list of 300 plus, including the open access and some of the other related publications. So this is the IEEE Explore is the entry page. It's like a portal. So and then if you see the conferences, so you see this 9,700. See, basically the IEEE has got all the branded conferences, and the Explore has got the complete archives of the conferences. That's the reason you find 9,788. But on an annual basis, 1,800 conferences are held. Yes? Okay. So some of the indexing, IEEE indexing. Yeah. So further go on the way you have to publish. The streamlined publication, it helps you in writing the paper. So many times people, who write the paper, they don't know how to start. These are just entry barrier. See, once you write the first paper, you get an idea, and then writing the paper itself is involved in so many steps. So right from assistance to write, prepare and share the paper, web-based workflow, electronic submission. So they use it. Scholar one is the submission, it's manuscript, and helps to track the paper progress. So this is the streamlined process. And then editorial development connects with the experts to collaborate. See, basically, when you write the paper, you want to authenticate, or maybe try to verify what you are going to write is already existing, or maybe you want some additional information. So it's very difficult to find out the related authors. So the IEEE has got a facility called Collaboratech. Collaboratech is many of you must be in members of LinkedIn. LinkedIn is one of the popular social media like Facebook for personal. LinkedIn is for professional people. Those who are in industry as well as in academia, they become members of LinkedIn. And something similar is the Collaboratech. See, once you become a member of IEEE, you are automatically, you can start using the Collaborate facility. But it, for the current time for the present time, the Collaboratech is open for all. It is not necessarily that you should be a member of IEEE. Even non-members, they have access to Collaboratech. So there is you can freely use the facilities of Collaboratech, and it is basically tries to bring people in a particular domain or in a specific area together. It is some sort of interest group. So if you are doing some work in nanotechnology, so you find a group in nanotechnology and Collaboratech, people both industry, academia, whoever is there, including the research scholars, students. So they all become members in that Collaboratech nanotech group, and then they start exchanging ideas. So this way, you encounter any problem and you post it in the group and you get numerous answers so that how to go about. So this facility, it is IEEE provides to the researchers. And then the peer review, vital for ID research. And some of the peer review remarks, they're excellent in terms of, many times the peer review is one which sometimes, people get discouraged. The reviewers are so, say, what do you call, arrogant. Okay, I just want to say that. So straight away they reject. And some of them, they give a very politely say that, your work is not meeting the standard. But some people just cut and write, it's unfit for publishing. And see, they are supposed to give some constructive feedback. See, then only you can improve. So this IEEE makes it a very, very essential condition for reviewers that your review has to be very constructive. At any point of time, if you are rejecting or maybe wanting some additional information from the author, you have to be very descriptive. So which ultimately makes the author at ease. Otherwise, author is clueless why the paper is rejected and things like that. So this is one process, so which is considered to be extremely useful by the researchers. So any paper you try to publish in IEEE, if it doesn't go through publishing next step, so you are sure to get complete feedback on how to improve your paper. It's not only just pointing out error or invalid statement in your research, but they also provide assistance. This you can even refer to some of the published work, and the review process is excellent, and the author's feedback, the reviewer's feedback is also very good. So this is the reason many people, they think that publishing at least worth, even though sometimes it may take little extra time, but ultimately you are learning the process, that you are validating your research and thinking. And then referencing and searching. So IEEE is a member in the cross-reference, cross-ref. So this cross-ref is one which has got a global database of published work, and ultimately IEEE uses cross-ref as a base for the plagiarism check. And any paper you submit to IEEE, completely, it is scanned by cross-ref, and then sort of, your similarity index is found out, and based on that, some actions are taken. And one thing here, unfortunately, the plagiarism has become a very, very global issue, and particularly people, the researchers from two countries, they are tagged with the plagiarism. One is China, and the next one, unfortunately, is India. So even in IEEE, close to about 40% of the authors coming from China and India, they are sort of, somewhere or other, they are involved in the plagiarism. And one thing IEEE does is they don't retract the paper. Many times a plagiarized paper is published. Now, sometimes what happens is plagiarized paper, so plagiarism is not just copying. There are beyond copying, right? So you provide the wrong data, so some sort of, and then some you don't give proper reference to the sources. So there are multiple ways, and many times the wrong data is published, and that as if it has been the research outcome, and there is no way to verify that. Wrong data getting published is very difficult. So it gets published, but after some time, it has been found out that the data itself is wrong. And what happens is many publications they retract, and you must be reading some of the articles published in Hindu as well as some of the journals. There are number of articles are getting retracted and increasing, the order of increasing. And here, what IEEE does, it doesn't retract in the sense that it doesn't withdraw the paper from the repository, but what they do is they put a watermark on the paper retracted, or paper classified as a plagiarized paper, something like this. So, which means it is a permanent shame to the author. So, which means that it is like punishment. If you get punished, so one time the work is over. But if you don't get punished and then you are exposed and to the global audience, it is the worst type of punishment one can think of. So that's the reason. So this is one way of totally trying to sort of avoid plagiarism. That way, shaming people has got more sort of impact rather than retracting. So that's the reason plagiarism is okay. And see, as I was mentioning, that IEEE has got options for publishing a journal article, conference paper, magazine article, publishing book, and we'll just go through it little in depth in the thing. And then author benefits. Basically, it is prestige, visibility, wide distribution. Wide distribution means the IEEE subscription is globally people they subscribe. Many institutions, see both the research as well as academic institutions, there are a large circulation. In fact, IEEE still makes huge money in terms of the subscription revenue. Membership revenue is one third, but two third is the subscription revenue. So wide distribution, marketing support. IEEE does a lot of marketing, so which means that indirectly your research is getting publicized through the global audience. Then competitive royalties. The royalties here for the IEEE books, mostly the IEEE books. So royalty normally is in the range of 7.5 to 10%. That's what the publisher they give. IEEE gives minimum 15%. So if your book gets published in IEEE press, so you get a minimum of 15% royalty, and with a larger circulation base. And depending on the case, the royalty percentages are still higher. And editorial guidance and support, author support, special pricing. See, basically the special pricing for the IEEE members that makes your publication to reach more people. So which means that your visibility indirectly. So as an author, you don't lose much, but the members get discount, and still the royalty is paid on the cover price. They're not on the discounted price. So which means you are protected. Okay. So this is a. So we'll just. So actually, if you look at it, these are the various steps in publishing, like creating the article, submitting the article, choose the publishing agreement, role in the thing. And these are some basic steps, the IEEE follows in the workflow. So this is the homepage for the. See, IEEE has got a unique portal called the Author Center. So that is the interface for every author, who wants to publish in any of the sources, the journal or transaction, magazine, and book and conferences and so on. So basically, the new authors may require some help in writing, peer review, actual publication, and some of the author tools, associated author tools, and video tutorial. For every step in IEEE publishing, it has got a video tutorial. So you can, if you are not familiar with the operation, you can just spend some time. The video tutorials are about 15-20 minutes short video tutorials. It gives you guided tool how to go about, and of course IEEE follows a high standards of ethics, like right from plagiarism and what to report and things like that, ethical considerations. So these are the various steps. And here the publication, and we will just go to the author tools. See, author tools is see the author, that overleaf is the like text publishing. That overleaf is a software IEEE uses and very user friendly. So that is the one which is used, and it's some sort of a latex version. So, but it is improvised a graphical user based publishing platform. And then normally, the publishing start from the first step is where to publish, right? Many of us don't know which journal or something, your research work, where it can fit it. So that is the first step in publishing, and IEEE helps in terms of finding the right publication. So this we call it publication recommender. So like Amazon, when you want to buy something, you make a search. The Amazon has got the recommender engine. We call it the recommender system. So there's something similar. And IEEE has got the first step in publishing is where to publish, because IEEE has got 200 plus journals and 1800 conferences. So you are not fully sure where to publish your paper. So first step you go is, and here this is something like a, so maybe you can so we'll just enter a key, like say edge computing. So automatically it populates. Okay, and here there are options. Here's both periodicals as well as conferences, or you want to only limit to the periodicals like journals, you have the thing, or conferences. Suppose you are only interested in conference, you can make the selection. So the right buttons, and here right now it is and also there is a further optional search feature, like your deadline is fixed. Within 6 months, you have to publish a paper. So here you can give a reference, like within 6 months, you want on or before the date. So which means that something like a fast track publishing. So which are the possible things are there? No, that by restricting the narrow by date. But here, without any condition, we just make a quick search, get the references. Okay. இது அந்த விண்டோ ஓப்பன் விண்டோ ஓப்பன் வச்சுங்க அது விண்டோ ஓப்பன் ஆனதில்ல உடனே ஓகே சரி இதை பண்ணிடலாம் ஓப்பன் இது ப்ரெசன்டேஷன் இது பண்ணிடலாம் ஓகே இங்கே ஓகே இது இங்கே போட்டுருங்க இட்ஸ் ஓகே இங்கே போட்டுக்கலாம் the tools. So you can see the list of periodicals. I think is it visible or I think it's not readable, right? So anyway, it gives a thing like so the first one is that computer magazine, and it says open access is also available. So it's not necessarily saying that it is also available as open access, and then it gives an impact factor. Like now you may have some interest that you want to publish a high impact factor or minimum 5, something like that, your desire. So that way it gives a thing, and it also highlights the submission to publish. That is a time frame it requires. Basically it tells how many weeks. See, something like 30 weeks. Some publication 30 weeks is, you think it is fairly large, 7 months, right? See, but what happens is, but it is unfortunate, high impact factor. The wait for the published cycle. See, yes. In fact, many conferences, we have seen, they announce they call for paper just 2 months before the conference date. So how do you expect the author, to submit it? Not possible. In fact, yes. So in fact, IEEE mandates any conferences IEEE to support, it has to be a minimum lead time of 18 months. So call for paper should come at least 12 months in advance. So the entire preliminary process, they insist 18 months and call for paper. And also IEEE insists the reviewers out of the you can submit the reviewers for the conferences, and depending on the paper number of papers, like for example you expect about 200 papers, it also, this is a complete process is there online, that they expect you to spell out in advance how many papers you expect and how many papers you want to consider to present in the conference. So both are these two factors, and depending on the number of papers you're expecting, they expect minimum one third of the referees. Like if you are expecting say 150 papers, so they insist 50 referees, and then of the 50 is 25% have to be IEEE members. So the reason why they insist that IEEE members should be the reviewers is they know the ethical practice of IEEE. I mean, it is not that others don't know, but the gravity of the situation is known. As an IEEE member, he has got familiar, he is more familiar with some of the process. That's the reason they insist. And they also make it a point that at least one of the three reviewers should be an IEEE member. So you have to give 25% of the reviewers from the IEEE list, and see that out of three reviewers for the paper, one has to be an IEEE member. Yes, the reviewer list is also, they give help in terms of identifying your reviewers, depending on the once you select the journal, and then you can go for the reviewer. No, it is a mix. So mostly what happens is that IEEE doesn't pay anything. IEEE doesn't pay, and it is more of some sort of a prestige. So you can enroll as the reviewer in the IEEE, so you can publish as yourself that IEEE reviewer. Many of the profiles you find that you are a reviewer of few journals and for the IEEE or reviewer. IEEE is an optional process. You can no see, you don't have to be an IEEE member to be a reviewer. So the option is that if you are a member, your chances of becoming a reviewer is better. Yeah, membership fee is there. Right now it is $85 IEEE, but the amount, the benefit what you get as a no, it is a yearly membership. Very yeah, yeah. I think that's the one thing which many people feel. In fact, Madam is the coordinator from. No, no, not reviewer. Okay, okay. I mean, no, 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 no. There are two categories of the reviewer. One is the IEEE reviewer, that is IEEE member reviewer, and non-member reviewer. So you can continue to be a non-member reviewer. You don't have to be a member of IEEE. But the conference organizers, they try to sort of non-member. They will pick you up depending on your domain. They may still consider you as a reviewer, but if you are a IEEE member, your chances become associated with the conference is higher, because they have the mandatory requirement is there. No? 25% they have to pick up from IEEE. So immediately they see whoever is an IEEE member, first they will select. So, but for the individual to become member of IEEE, the advantages is numerous, sir. There is one thing, which is, in fact, yesterday I was talking to the students and some faculty members. So that presentation is also available. Please, you can. So, in fact, the presentation is more on IEEE for research and innovation. How IEEE helps in research and innovation. That presentation is there. So that will also be made available, and it is Dr. Hamsa will share it with you. Uh, okay. See, this is a chicken egg story. Okay, chicken egg story in the sense that yeah. So once you make it a monetized operation, the greed comes. Negative point. In fact, so which means it becomes unbiasedness. Slowly comes out. That, that's why that concept of open access is come. Yeah. Yeah, that's a, yeah, that's a, I mean, see, basically, that entire the publishing, now it has become a very complicated exercise, the publishing, and particularly after the generative AI has come. See, the generative AI is, all of you know that, you don't have to worry about it. You simply just give your concept and then it gives you a paper. And you do the little bit of paraphrasing and then try to, and it also does the plagiarism check. And you insist that your similarity index should be 12%. You can still give that 12%. 15 is acceptable, but you make it a little more stringent by telling 12%. There are AI tools. In fact, there is a separate presentation there how AI tools help with this one. This not we are not planned it in this session, but for 12% plagiarism, and depending on the concept what you have given, ChatGPT type of tools, they completely they write, and also you give the page limit, word limit, and also he insists that there has to be cross references. You generate the reference, so it gives with the references, but only problem is some of the references are fictitious. I think that has been a lot of thing has been found out. So the AI tools, what they have written the article and given the references, non-existent references. So that comes under the hallucination and other issues of publishing through the. And then publishers, they have gotten exclusive guidelines of using the AI tools. All the publishers, in fact, I can share the reference, the publishers' guidelines on AI, use of AI tools. Which is a complete, every publisher has come out with guidelines. So maybe it's not part of this presentation, but I can share the information through Dr. Hamza. So this conferences, as I was mentioning, the reviewer process is the most tedious one, and then I definitely agree with your points where the reviewer needs to be. Okay. Yes. Correct. Yeah. Yeah. Correct. Yes. Correct. 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 In fact, in many journals, what they do is they compensate the editor to some extent. Editors, yeah, some, yeah. Oh, I see. Okay. Okay. Yes, yes. Correct, correct. So, yeah, yeah, correct. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yes, that's what. So there is a sort of paid service and free service. It's always that there's a difference. So anything. Yes. Correct. Correct. Yeah. Yeah. In fact. Huh? Okay. Oh. No, that's right. See, particularly what happens is that APC, what we call it, article processing charges, unfortunately, is very high for the medical and some of the science journals. Sir, nature and science, 10,000. $10,000, if you want to get your nature under open access. Again, under open access, you want. Yeah, I think. Yeah, we will definitely. Yeah. So we have a. Yes. Yeah. In fact, we have a publishing board. There is a board which oversees all the IEEE publications, and it is for the IEEE Computer Society. The board director is from New Jersey University, U.S. New Jersey, and incidentally, he is an Indian. Uh, yeah, yeah, that's it. I mean, so yes. Yeah, in fact, each journal out of 200 IEEE journals, they got exclusive guidelines for reviewer, how to select, how to apply for reviewership. So that they have a guidelines and they go through the process. The each publication has got a editorial board, and then the reviewers. So all this is a step by step. The process is fairly established process. The only difference is they are not as bigger as like Nature, Science, and other Springer publishers. They've been in the publishing business for ages. Even though IEEE has been in the publishing business, it was more on a membership oriented. So that way, their profit orientation was relatively low as against the standalone publishers. So the Springer and they are the one who came with the indexes in advance, and then they made the online versions available the database. And IEEE was slightly they followed the model, but as a member service they extended it. And so this list is given as a, and then also it lists the conferences. So it gives two conferences are listed here, and including the deadline for the conference paper submission. And once currently, the paper call for paper. Yes, there's a country is India. Right. Yes. So depending once you give the keyword, and it's not actually you can make it a more refined search by giving additional information. No, it's only IEEE approved conferences. Yes, yes, but IEEE doesn't give importance to that. No, no, that's right. See, these are given through other searches, but here, no, IEEE is very particular that they should be endorsing the conference. Then only, because they are automatically these papers get included in the export digital library. Whereas some of the conferences organized elsewhere, they cannot go through the Springer. Some people they go for the publishing. Some people, just they bring out a proceeding. That's all. Not index. So which means that so it is left to the conference organizer. So how can the say in 2 months they announce a conference? So just not possible to to go through indexing service or thing like that. No, no, this is on cloud computing. I mean edge computing. No, no, because we made a search. There's a filter. So this is an edge computing. Yes, yes, because your research is on edge computing, and so I just so if you give the, I mean the general topic, you will find. So, like for example, uh, yeah, there is a conference website is there. Yeah, yeah. Mm, yeah. So okay, this is I mean this becomes only specific to the IEEE industry application, but you can make it a generic one. So this is the conferences website. So we'll just make it sorry. So this is the upcoming conferences. Okay. So the IEEE Bombay section, integrated conferences. So yeah. So this is, and this also you can, what you can do is in the oh, readable control plus. Okay. நீங்க பண்றீங்களா அருண்?
Not only engineering students, even commerce students who are
Yes, yes.
computer science, they can refer this.
No, mathematics is now all the maths. The best source to publish is the IEEE journals. In fact, and then electrical engineering people, they find it. See this, particularly the data science. Any commerce person can do it. Mathematics people, they can. Computer science, all. And then similarly, even some of the life science students are also publishing data science. So now, sort of, that's the reason I say that IEEE being a multidisciplinary, people from various domains can use this platform. Yeah.
This one Asian conference on innovation in India.
Yeah. I think here any topic you give, possibly it will appear. That is one thing. And these are the thing, the Indiscon and Indicon, they're all directly, IEEE branded conferences. There is a branding is different from technical support. See, IEEE has got two type of support. One is part of the IEEE conference itself, where the entire financial control is also taken care of by IEEE. And some conferences like PAB wants to organize a conference on sustainability, right? And it can be a technically supported conference. So there is a small fees is there, technical support fee. They call it a technical uh, conference support fee, TCS. That. So it's a $1,500 something they say. So basically, the reason is they give the global publicity. Like any author who is interested, when he goes through a recommended system, that gets listed. And then IEEE keeps sending the newsletters to various members. There it's also listed. So to do the, and second thing is there's a conference board itself is there, which will oversee the operations. You are supposed to keep providing updates on the status, how many papers have come, how many have been reviewed, at what stage. Some papers reviewed by two authors, waiting for the third author. So all these stages have to be reported to the publication board. So once IEEE sort of agrees to support the conference, they monitor all the progress. So that's the reason they charge the technical service fee. Otherwise, there is no supervision, right? And then also they have to maintain the supremacy in terms of correct. So this is the purpose. So the recommendation system, as I was mentioning, this is the first step. And then this article template. So I think all of you are familiar with the template for the articles. So because there's every publication they have got their own style sheet. So the template, and imagine IEEE has got 200 journals. And of course, to a large extent, the templates are standardized, but still, some of the templates, they keep varying. And as an author, it's the most difficult part is to submit the article in the correct template format. So here, IEEE helps if you give the Word document. Simply, you give the Word document to the this template selection, and then decide the journal which you are submitting. It automatically formats to the template format. So there's I think your 80% of your workload is being eliminated. Yeah, it is a free service for members. For members, okay, and it's a free service, and including the reference. And then there is a separate thing, reference preparation assistant. So incidentally, for everything there is a link. Now you find this presentation is going to be shared with you, and do some sort of a homework where we're trying to give some homework for the people. So you can just like, for example, we'll see the article templates. So here, use the interactive IEEE template selector.
This template is meant for only for the conferences.
No, journal.
Journals, they are
Journal. Template for the conference, there's a standard conference template. And also many conferences, the local organizers, they have that. But they always say that you follow the IEEE standard. 90% of the conferences, they will say the paper can be submitted by using the IEEE format. So,
see, normally Springer elsewhere, we used to submit by IMS where the publisher will do this all things. Why we ask authors to do this task unnecessarily? No, my question is very simple. It may save the time of publisher. Because if it is accepted, then it's very good to prepare the format.
no, this stage is not in the immediate. So the articles, no. See, one thing is the IEEE. That's the reason they have given this tool for you to just prepare the article in that format. So this format, in no time you can get there is absolutely there is no time involved.
It means they need to prepare the article in this format before submitting the article.
Yeah, just go through this step.
If it is rejected, then
No, the rejection is a different issue. No.
once you accept the paper,
Huh.
after that, if you ask the author to prepare through the template, then it is meaningful. Because they can save a lot of time.
No, even I think most of the journals they insist.
Elsewhere, Springer will never ask
Even they take that word.
only the publisher impress they will do it. Then when they receive the proof, it will be templated according to their style and everything. We're not through while submitting.
No, this comes as the third step in IEEE.
After getting accepted.
Yeah, I mean, sort of before that. So what they insist is by giving this tool. See, the idea is that it helps you in terms of the faster review. See, the thing is, when you submit the paper outline, so many times, the extended abstract we do it for the conferences. See, normally the conference is first step is the abstract presentation, and then based on the abstract, yeah, based, yeah, no, it is for the journal also. So they also,
Journals, they follow like this.
yeah, so they make that life is simpler, and so that you can see how your paper will look like, and at least you can decide how it. And the idea is that every different sections of a paper is predefined here, so automatically the thing gets flown. Otherwise, you may not get the overall picture how the paper, your methodology, find the conclusions, the past references, and things like that. So the various section of the research.
The page restrictions are this model is good.
Yeah,
For example,
there is correct.
if they do not have a page restriction, then it is not
No, IEEE has
restrictions
Yeah, IEEE does have a page restriction because it is a subscription journal, and also the APC is there is no concept of APC for subscription journal. Only for, yeah, printing charges, and even only for printing charges also they don't. They only for if you insist the color photographs and things like that. So otherwise, they don't insist. So that way the publishing is relatively economical in IEEE. Yeah, and then see, this is the template selector is the thing. So you can decide the transaction, magazine, conference, and based on that, you can. So then here you can say the select name of the publication. So IEEE transaction, and okay. So this gives a preparation for the general guidelines is there. So this gives a amount of work what you have to do in advance once your paper gets selected, and then you have the option of using the automated paper sort of formatting exercise. So this is one way that once you decide which publication you want to publish your paper or which conference, then the template, whether so mentally, you get prepared. So these are the things you get in advance. And then this guidance for the graphic analyzer. See, many times the graphics, what we present, these there are two ways of looking at the graphics. What you will see on the monitor and what you see on the paper printed, they require a different resolution. So in the monitor, what we want is 72 dpi is more than adequate. But whereas if you want to print it on a glossy paper, you require minimum 2000 dpi. So high resolution, and this is the help the IEEE provides, and particularly the some of the publications, like for example, I come from Hindu, the newsprint. You can imagine if an article or a photograph or graphics to be published in a newsprint, you require a very very high resolution, in the sense that because the newsprint itself, this is a porous. The newsprint, it looks like a good paper, but actually it is made of fiber interconnected, and it leaves a lot of space in between. So even a small pixel will make a difference. So that's the reason many of the print publication, they require the high resolution graphics and then images. And IEEE helps, you submit your graphics, and immediately it tells, yes, this is acceptable, or you have to enhance, so it gives a feedback. So this the assistance is there. This is now most of the IEEE publications, if it is in color they want 1200. 1200, if it is a black and white, 600 is sufficient. And for there are some publications IEEE which has got pure online. See, the online is 300 is sufficient. 300. So yeah, so that's what, this graphic analyzer, if you go through that, it all checks the parameters. You have to input that, and then it says, and then you upload your graphics, and then says, it is acceptable or it needs improvisation. And earlier they were providing support for improving the graphics, but they have sort of suspended that operation. And then the latex analyzer. So this you can submit the paper through the latex thing, and then it does the, once you are formatted through the latex, and it verifies the whether the formatting is okay or not. Huh? Okay, great. Okay.
much time sir?
Maybe in 15 minutes முடிச்சிடலாம். Okay. And then the next step is that I have to be a reference. So this is the one of the toughest thing, the reference list. So each publication, the journal, they have the particular format in which the references to be. But for websites, there's the format. For the books, you have to provide in a different style, and for the journal articles, you have to indicate it. So this entire reference preparation assistance is provided by IEEE. This is one thing, and so you can what you can do is you simply give your references in a text form, and some format is predefined format. Just paste it, and then automatically it formats it to the style. And the last step is that PDF checker. So once the paper is accepted, and then it is the final version before publishing. Normally the author is supposed to give okay for the paper, how it is going to appear. The PDF paper of your accepted one is given, and now it does, it is it also checks. So first level checking is done by the system, and the final, anyway, the verification has to be done by the author. Then you have to, if there are any deviations, if you want it to be slightly different from what has been shown, you can do it. So that PDF checker. And then that recently IEEE has started this service called data port. See, now what has happened is big data and AI. So all modeling is based on the data sets. So many times what we do is we import the data sets from some other country. Our problems are different, and then the data set available, US data set, okay, they don't go together. So basically your experiment can be biased, like using the data set of a US population, or maybe that ecosystem, they say, like particularly in the case of health related. So using many times the people, they follow that because you want to validate your model. So that is done through the data set. But getting a proper data set is extremely difficult, except some cases like that space exploration. That NASA data set is valid, globally valid. But for the biodiversity and health related, the data set is different. And for the say like EVs, now we talk about autonomous vehicle. You can imagine the traffic situation in US and traffic situation in India. They are two different things. Like you are developing a model for EVs in, say, in Tamil Nadu. Imagine, you are validating your model based on the California, the data set. Totally will be a failure. So which means that how to sort of localize the data set. That is one problem. And what IEEE sort of insists is, the members, basically, it is not based, they don't, it's not insisting, but they recommend or they suggest. Suppose if you have developed a paper using your own data set, they expect you to deposit that data set in the data port. So it is, the data port is nothing but a repository of data sets. And currently it has got about 2000 data sets and valid in different fields. You see that there are about 7000 research data sets are available. And then the categories: agriculture, artificial intelligence, 1700 data sets. So it means if your paper is dealing with some topic in AI, so you don't have to worry about data set. Straight away you can download the data set and then start validating your model and present the paper based on your findings. Some hypotheses you may arrive at. So this is one of the, but it is strictly member benefit. See, there is not open. See, there are some open access data set, but it is limited. See, out of the 7,000, close to about 1,000 or something is open access. But remaining, see, like authors, if they are given open free access to the data set, they keep it as an open access. And otherwise, they make it a member benefit. So they don't charge, but you need to be a member. So they have to differentiate between free and paid service. So the paid service is coming under the category of member. So this is one of the best resource for any researcher, the data set who are working on the modeling. Okay, so this has been existent for about 5-6 years. It is a new facility. The data port is a, and then same thing is another facility what IEEE has got this code ocean. Those who are in computer science, they know that GitHub, version control and code repository, GitHub and GitLab, something like this, the code ocean. So whatever code you have generated for as a supplementary material for your research, so you can deposit in the code ocean, and then any researcher can have access to it. So which means that you don't have to reinvent the wheel. So to a large extent, they try to sort of simplify your background work. So this code ocean is as good as GitHub, but not in terms of GitHub has got millions of users as member, because it has been existent for a large number of years, and also now the Microsoft has taken over. Microsoft has purchased that. So there is some payment is also slowly they are likely to make it chargeable. The GitHub is right now free, but there is a subscription model can come anytime. So they are expecting that. And incidentally, the Indian developers are the second largest on GitHub. In fact, the Microsoft research director has said in the recent interview, in another 2 years, India will lead in GitHub. Indian contribution in GitHub will be the topmost. But same way that IEEE also has got, it may look like something, what others have done, but this will be focused in the sense that, all the data programs and modules or routines, what you have done will be related to the IEEE's interests. So whereas GitHub is the open, even to find it like making a Google search, you get so many results and you have to refine your search, keep on refining to find out your specific interest. Whereas in the case of this code ocean, it is pointed result, you will get this one. And then the preprint server. So this is the Tech RX. The archive is there, right? The preprint service. So the preprint service is like why people use preprint service? They want to make a claim in advance, right? Otherwise, so someone will submit by the time you submit a paper and things like that. The preprint service is mainly used by researchers just making a claim in advance, something like anticipatory bail. Okay, so
1940s, there is a substance in the body, antivirus,
uh,
and a hypertone.
mm,
Both are reported,
simultaneously.
but finally, both are same.
Oh,
Both are same. And they told that we only must claim. They told we only claim.
okay.
That time there was no preprint.
No preprint service.
Had it been there, they would have claimed that.
Claim, correct. So that's the same thing that Bose also, that Calcutta, yeah, correct. Yes. So I mean, yeah. So that's what many times, our researchers, by way of not making the world in advance known what they are working and what they have found out, we lose the advantage of first mover advantage.
So that is the advantage of having our paper published in preprint.
Preprint server.
There are some disadvantages
Yeah, because you are making your idea known to the people
before it is getting.
before it is getting. But the thing is, you can still have the legal claim is possible once you have the.
Automatically by default.
Uh, that's I think as a authors, the basically they have the author agreement, So in that they take a signature that you don't have any objection in getting the preprint server to host your thing. And this idea is only to make your claim in advance. And second thing is, there are people who go through the preprint and then they start suggesting only citation, and then they get improvements. Improvement. Someone says that you have made a blatant error, or they immediately I mean, the people are the good in, yes, correct, correct. So which means that it helps you in multiple ways. And IEEE has established the preprint service. This is another facility for the benefit of authors. Okay, and then the arcade. So everyone has got the arcade profile, right? Yeah, arcade profile, and IEEE is integrated very tightly with the arcade profile. Ah, so you get that number, right? Arcade number and things like that. And then the IEEE has got the collaborate, which I was mentioning, so wherein authors, they can start communicating in the group and things like that. And please visit this link. I'm not demonstrating that link, but you visit the link, how the authors are brought into their forum, and then they start engaging. And then similarly, the author lab. The author lab is more like, it keeps informing the authors, what are the new developments the IEEE has done. So they completely keep you informed about the new versions. Whenever there is, you may be familiar with the old version of the tool. So then they expect you to get familiarized. So it's the more of hand-holding process, the lab. So these are author lab recommendations. This was the template thing, right? So these are graphics analyzer thing, what I was mentioning. So article metrics, and then this IEEE has got an exclusive facility of newsletter for the authors, and it is free. It's irrespective of the membership. It is free, and you can simply you can subscribe for it, and then get. Yes. No. Newsletters are generally they don't. Even the Scopus and things like they. No, that is slightly different from. This is more in terms of only ongoing work related to IEEE and how IEEE is. That newsletter is the nature and I think they have a different connotation.
It's also ongoing and the current problems about the nature general thing. That is
Yeah.
also indexed. But this one is very generalized.
Very generalizing. And second thing is, it is dynamically changes. So which means people should not go by the old reference. So that's the reason they avoid this indexing. Many times what happens is the search results throws up something, and invariably we go by the top one or two, and it might be a dated one. So the people don't take that much of, very precautious notice, and may take a reference to the old one. So to avoid that, So, but anyway, it is archived. So all the newsletter, once you go to the archive section, you can see the versions, all the versions, and it is internally searchable. So the archive is searchable, and within the same archive port. This one. And then is also for editors, they have a newsletter. For authors, they have a newsletter, and editors, they keep changing the editorial policy, best practices. They keep revising, and all these how to take care of the Gen AI papers. So now it's all becoming very fluid after the Gen AI. So now the editors are at risk. So
It can be easily found. If the paper is written through AI, as an editor, you can easily find out. See, somewhere only
no,
AI can use.
no, the no, the problem is that hallucination. So fact checking is still is difficult. So unless the people are knowledgeable, false reporting is very difficult. So, and in the process, once you automate many of the processes, it gets through. And subsequently, someone after 2 years, someone finds out, there is a problem and things like that. By the time the repetition becomes straight. So the IEEE is a very particular, And first thing what they say is they try to negate. And I can give an example. Uh, I think many of you will be knowing about the Institute IITDM, Indian Institute of Information Technology and Manufacturing at Kanjipuram. It is just in near Tambaram, IITDM. And I was a conference, basically the conference committee chair of IEEE Madras section, and we approved the conference. Okay, and approved the conference, and then the conference headquarters committee also approved it, and then it was publicized and papers were invited. 3,000 rupees was the conference paper author this one, registration. So they have to register, then only they can publish. And general thing is, 3,000 is a very nominal amount. There are people charge some 7,500 and things like that. 3,000 as a paper, author registration, and conference also taken place. After the conference is completed, and then the organizers from the IIITDM, they submitted for inclusion in the IEEE Explore. IEEE Explore, they rejected. They simply said that was done flexible manufacturing. The conference was on flexible manufacturing. IEEE Explorer simply said out of our subject area, scope. Flexible manufacturing out of our subject scope. So then it became a big issue. You can imagine the authors who submitted the paper, they preferred to submit in this conference, and then they spent number of months, write the paper and get it accepted, and also paid the thing. And then the paper is not getting into the Explorer. It became a huge problem. And IIITDM, they said, sir, how to overcome this? Then they said, we don't mind returning the 3,000 rupees to the author. See, because they didn't want to spoil their name. Because automatically, when social media, everyone starts publishing, I submitted paper IIITDM, I presented, but it is not getting Explorer. All these things they didn't want to get. Yeah. So which means that IIITDM will be in a bad name. So they said, sir, we don't mind losing money. Then the author, they said, no, it's not the 3,000 rupees I am worried. It's about my time. I lost so much of time and things like that. So it became a big issue. Then we stepped in. So
students, first 2.5 years, they don't worry about the time. After 2.5 years or 3 years,
rush.
they worry about only the time, not about any health or anything else. So you need to worry about from the day
in advance. Yeah, you have to plan in advance. Correct. So then afterwards, what we did, this is one case. Then I will combine it with another. There's another college called SSN Engineering College. Yeah. Have you heard of that name? SSN Engineering. This is a Shivnadar promoted college, and it's one of the good college. And in fact, in Anna University admission, they are the number one to get filled up. Okay, this is out of context. And they had done a conference on wireless sensor network. There was a conference, and the wireless sensor network 1, 2, 3, 4, the series, it was a series, an annual basis. The 5th conference, that was conducted, and after the all the 4 conferences, papers were included in the Explore. The 5th conference, when they submitted to Explore rejected. So again they said, no, the conference, all the papers. So they simply rejected. The reason they said was it has not been approved by Explore. Actually, then only we came to know that IEEE Explore also has got a separate board. What happens is the conference acceptance is relatively simple. See, they are generally okay. The publicity, they differentiate between conference support is more in terms of publicity and then getting the reviewers and things like that. But whereas Explore, they started a parallel process, then they said the quality of paper is deteriorating. conference papers are generally considered to be lesser standard than the journal articles, right? So that's the reason many, even in research also, they give more preference for the journal articles. And more than journal articles, the transaction articles are given better weightage. Transaction is given so that, yes, yeah, there's some sort of a benchmark. And so these conference papers, because they get a lower priority, uh, then uh, uh, then there is a quality of paper submitted to the conference are also coming down. Then that was the reason this Explorer was rejecting the papers. Then afterwards we took the step, and then we said no, we referred the thing, and then I said the flexible manufacturing is nothing but automating the manufacturing process. It is like a complete usage of robotics and industry 5.0 and all this thing, which is again a part of the thing. See, the word flexible manufacturing is not may not be the thing, but it is not a part of the IEEE list of subjects, but it is indirectly the being a multidisciplinary. It is a part of IEEE conference theme. So we had to fight it out. Then we got the explore acceptance, and same thing with the SSN college also. We got the acceptance. The earlier all the papers, and then subsequently what has happened is, apart from getting the conference approval by the conference board, an exclusive approval for Explore also was sought. It has become mandatory. That's the reason you will find many of the conference in the publishing, they will add one word, one sentence. The conference organizers will make an attempt to publish in Explore, subject to approval. So earlier it was not there. So we introduced that class. So at various stages, IEEE makes it mandatory in terms of maintaining the quality. So that is the purpose why IEEE papers are considered to be prestigious and sets the benchmark and things like that. So today's discussion was more generic in terms of, but this presentation, wherever the links are given, yeah, please go through the link. Then towards the end, so these are the tutorials. So I just highlighted some tutorials. So every uh, like right from writing the paper, and then the article references and conference recommendation system. For every subject there is a tutorial, and it's all small. There's maybe about 15-20 minutes each one. So you can just go through the tutorial and get familiar with that. I think with that I will stop the presentation, and if you have any specific queries I can answer. And please be in touch with me. In fact, we have a WhatsApp group for people in academia and industry, and we'll be happy to have you enroll in that group, and we keep sending information. Information of interest. No, I don't guarantee that all the information we share will be of interest, because your domain could be different, but you will find some of the generic information which will be useful. Okay, so I will share that WhatsApp group with Dr. Ramsa, and then you can just it is it's just a click, and then you become a member in the group. Okay, so if there are any questions, I can take it up. Otherwise, thank you very much for your time. Yeah, please, sir.
So initially, you have raised the question whether we do have a self-organizing
Hmm.
website.
Institutional
Yeah,
repository.
because normally the papers which are being published by the university staff, around 10%
Hmm.
from IEEE.
Hmm.
Remaining are from elsewhere, Springer and other publishers. So copyright issues are there.
No, but you can ask for the exemption.
Yeah, but we confirm through self-organizing. What stages it can be self-organizing.
Okay.
So that restricts a lot.
Okay.
Some people they allow pre-print,
Ah.
some people they allow post-print.
Ah. Ah.
So
Okay.
because of this reason, we are not self-organizing. Yes. Through Romeo, the class and the CC, that open access option, everything. So different article, different journals, and different kind of copyrights. that IEEE allows. It's excellent, and we really appreciate that one. And all IEEE conference proceedings, are they indexed in Web of Science conference proceeding citation index? IEEE does it in the scopus. What about the Web of Science? Scopus definitely it comes. But what about Web of Science? Web of Science, not sure. And regarding preprint service, we have very general questions. For example, I have submitted my paper. You have published in preprint. Before it is getting accepted, it got 5 citations. For example. Okay. Okay, excellent. Because it cannot. Suppose if preprint citation is different. For example, someone is referring and citing in a Web of Science journal. Will it be considered? Generally not. But some people are saying that preprint, if you publish your article in preprint, there are some advantages in citations. That citation cannot be included in the original journal. Right? Because the ID is different. Yes, the ID what is there. So it means that is not correct information. People are saying preprint citation can be converted into the journal. Yeah. It's like a website. No, not these. See, I'm submitting. He is referring my preprint and his paper is published in the Nature, for example. Your paper, you can say that as a reference. You can preprint as well. Use it as a reference. But citation will not be transferred to the journal. Sir, we are interested in organizing one IEEE conference here in Germany in the Institute of Science and Technology. Can you please briefly tell, just to improve the 3 minutes, what are the instructions that we need to follow? Maybe Mr. Arun is a very much talented person, and he may also even be the organizing secretary. So IEEE encourages every institution not to contribute, but there are few restrictions, not restrictions, but guidelines. I think English is better than guidelines. One is that the institution should be a institution, I mean the branch of. So I think already the steps are started there about this excellence. I mean earlier when it was engineering college. Yeah, I have come. Oh, it is there. No. So later it was not. Yeah. No, only when it was a college. So now are we eligible, sir? No, I think you are not that student status. Okay. You have to apply. Then the membership is also not there. So once you become a member, then only minimum. But you want to recognize our members. What is the fees? 1,500 something. Fees for the students is $13. $13 for the UG, and for the PG those who are research and is 27. So 50% reduction to the UG. What about the university memberships? Professional member 8. There is a starting level. And for the PG, after PhD, they are treated as students. So we need full time. And part-time PhD is not student. So they just you have to declare that in the part-time and full-time is treated as student. Part-time there is a faculty, they register as PhD. So those who are working in some other institution doing PhD here means they are not a student. They are not student. That is only for becoming a member. Member. I mean, advantage is there, no? $85 and advantage is and then once you are a member of whether you have a student branch, then you are authorized to organize any event. How many students are the number minimum? Minimum is 12. 12 only. And 3 faculty. I mean 3 full-time professional. So one is a student branch counselor. After that we can submit the proposals. Yes, sir. And try to start up like 12 to 18 months. In advance. In advance. For 2025 December we need to work now. And then so it has to get
go through the local section, the Madras section. Okay. And you have to get approved the Madras section plus application costs. And then the explore is also published. And the explore charges is like APC, $25 per session. $25. Earlier it was explore was paid. Now they will. Earlier explore was paid to the conference. Yeah. So will it not be repeated, sir? It not be repeated. Yes, and yes. 20 years back, and by every paper, because an explore was bigger, getting bigger. Because of to compensate the cost and all maintenance. Yes. So earlier they were paying $15 for every paper submitted. So the conference organization was giving my conference chair so many ADAT and conference. So now two students, how many students are 12? 12 and 23 professionals. So this initial three faculty. Already I think it is being supported by the university. Yeah, university will support. And then after the approval has to be approved in this section. And then with as I was mentioning, with the technical support, $1,500. Yeah, but there is another, I can say one more option is there. If the section can be made to financially support this conference, if you get a grant, then the CSS is very much. So the grant amount of minimum was 15. Oh. So 10,000 rupees sponsorship like that. Sponsorship is a section. So that is generally. The 1,500 is waived, sir. $1,500. Waived. Oh, sir. That's because you are committing to receive. There is only one commitment there, and once it is being financially supported, all the translations have to be audited. So the way means automatically is a transfer. What happens is so this 1,500 is the what fees? Technical support. Technical support fees. To whom this must be paid? No, you take this section. Madras section. Madras section and Madras section is transferred. This one after the proposal is accepted or accepted? So the program is getting accepted in once it is accepted, sir, then it will be listed in the activity transfer section. So you can search it. This process should be started at least 1 year. Last year, 1 year ago. 18 months to first same time. Okay. Slowly they process it. Even the starting delay or 1 or 2 months. Otherwise, what happens is, and so we have to Hindustan University. That's Chennai. Chennai. I should be uploaded in the cultural upload because Madras section is uploaded. So the proposal should go through Madras section, then automatically forward to the explore. No, it's parallel. Oh, parallel. Yeah, I think we recorded the parallel. Not online photos. Online. How to enter it, sir? I should be parallel. Yes, sir. Then automatically. Form will come. Form will come and we will say who is the for the conference, how many participants, who is the conference. When they ask you how many students are member, how many faculty member are member? Yes, sir. Yeah. I mean that number. And also say how many records all this information you will have. Only when by that they are already member of our group. Normally what we Madras section will cooperate with will assist you. We give the list of all the series. It will be both the series. And then the email will be there. And then you can send many times, I will sir. Then they will say that you are running this contract and you kindly see it. You will take soon you will take initiative, sir. You will take initiative. Excellent, sir. So overall, let me give a feedback. Really, we enjoyed the lecture, sir. All the critical information, key elements that was shared to our scholars and faculty members. Thank you very much.
very much for your precious time presenting your key information for our students and faculty members. Your time and everything is greatly appreciated. We look forward for organizing ITP conference with the support of you. Please guide us. இல்லை நிற்பாங்க சார் பின்னாடி நிற்பாங்க நீங்கள் செட்டல் இருப்பீங்க அப்படியே நார்மலாக சார் பாருங்க சரி அப்போ இப்போ நீங்கள்
So it becomes easier.
Thank you, sir, for your insightful and thought provoking presentation. Your expertise and knowledge have certainly broadened our understanding and helps in shaping the future publications. At this juncture, I would like to invite Mr. A. Pugalindi, Head of Department of Mechanical Engineering, PMIST, to deliver the vote of thanks. Please, sir.
Respected chief guest of today's program, respected directors, deans, HODs, faculty members, and beloved research scholars. It's my immense pleasure to propose vote of thanks to one and all present here. First of all, I would like to convey our gratitude to the resource person of today's session, Mr. H.R. Mohan, IEEE Ambassador and Chair Events for IEEE Computer Society. I thank you, sir. Your session has really made us to learn a lot of new information, and we had a lot of inputs today. Again, we thank you very much, sir. Next, I would like to extend our sincere gratitude to the Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, respected Registrar ma'am, and Director IQC and other team members of IQC for arranging this and approving this wonderful session. And next, I convey our sincere gratitude to our Director Academic Research, Dr. T. Jaisman sir, also Professor in Mechanical Engineering, and Director Publication and Training of Research, our Balamar Pichai sir, who has spent his valuable time. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I also thank all the HODs, Deans, Directors for their presence and support for this event. Next, the organizing our EEE HOD ma'am, Dr. V. Kamsa ma'am, and Mr. S. Arun Murugan sir, APECE, Mr. R.K. Muthuraman sir, and other members for their support and wonderful organizing this event. Finally, I thank all the research scholars, faculty members for their gracious presence here. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Before we conclude, I would like to take a moment to express our gratitude to the Internal Quality Assurance Cell, IQAC, and the IEEE chapter at PMIST for organizing this event. Once again, I extend my sincere thanks to all our speakers, organizers, and participants. We look forward to more such engaging sessions and collaborative events in the future. Let's continue to think, innovate, and transform together. Thank you all. Have a great day.